4 minutes. That's how long experts say you have to escape a sinking car before it's completely submerged. But when 32-degree water started filling my Honda Civic, those 4 minutes felt like 4 seconds. I had to act fast or die trying. Hello, today I'm going to tell you about the most terrifying 4 minutes of my life. My name is Michael Thompson, I'm 32 years old, and I work as an insurance adjuster in Michigan. Due to my job, I constantly investigate car accidents and write damage reports. I've seen thousands of crashes, but none of them compare to what happened to me. That day, the incident I experienced on the frozen lake in northern Michigan almost became my last investigation. Everything started on the morning of December 14th. It was a typical winter day in Michigan. Temperature was 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Everything was covered with ice. Roads were slippery. At 8:30 a.m., I was returning from an accident scene in Traverse City. I was driving on a rural road, passing by the shore of Higgins Lake. This lake completely freezes in winter months. Its surface is covered with hard ice, and locals even go ice fishing on it. But what I didn't know that morning was that overnight temperature fluctuations had affected the ice thickness. I was driving my Honda Civic at 45 miles per hour, below the speed limit, safe driving. But on a sharp turn on Lakeshore Road, a truck behind me was following too closely. I was looking in the mirrors. The guy was almost touching my bumper. The truck honked and tried to overtake. The road was too narrow. There was oncoming traffic. I tried to pull to the right so the truck could pass. That's when everything went wrong. My car's right wheels got stuck in the soft snow on the side of the road. The steering wheel went out of my control. The car slid to the right, breaking through the metal barrier at the lake's edge. And at that moment I realized we were going toward the lake. My first thought was, this is impossible, the lake is frozen. But the ice wasn't that thick. The car's weight broke the ice layer, and within seconds we fell into the water. The impact was very hard. The airbag deployed, my head hit the windshield. I was dazed for a few seconds, but then I saw the reality. Water was rapidly entering. It started from my feet first, cold, freezing water. Then it rose to my knees, up to my waist. I started to panic because I had only seen this situation in movies.
I tried to open the door. It wouldn't budge.
Water pressure had locked the door. I knew the physics. In a submerged car, external pressure is much higher than internal pressure. The door won't open. I tried to open the windows. The electric window system wasn't working. Water had short-circuited the electronics. I had to break the windows manually. I took my emergency hammer from the center console. I started hitting the side window. First strike, nothing happened. Second strike, a small crack. Third strike, the crack grew, but the glass still didn't break. Meanwhile, water had risen to my chest. I started feeling hypothermia. Winter water in Michigan lakes is between 32 and 35 degrees Fahrenheit. At this temperature, the human body loses heat very rapidly. I checked my watch. 2 minutes had passed since the accident. 2 of the 4 minutes experts mentioned were gone. I could have panicked, but I knew that meant death. I took a deep breath, which could be my last deep breath, and started thinking systematically. I needed to break the window before the car was completely submerged. It would be much harder underwater. I directed the hammer to the corner of the window, the weakest point. I hit with all my strength. This time the glass shattered. A small opening formed, but it wasn't enough. Water had now reached my neck. Due to hypothermia, my muscles started contracting. Moving became difficult, but stopping meant death.
I tried to widen the glass opening. I cleaned the glass pieces with my hands. They cut me, but I didn't care. The opening started growing large enough for a body to pass through.
At the third minute, water passed over my head. I was now completely underwater. I was holding my last breath. My oxygen was very limited, maximum 1 to 2 minutes. I opened my eyes underwater. It was very dark and cold. I found the glass opening and started squeezing through, but my winter coat and shoes were very heavy underwater. Moving was almost impossible. At this critical moment, I had to make a decision. I had to take off my coat. It would increase hypothermia risk, but I would gain mobility. I took off the coat and left it in the water. Now I was lighter. I tried to get through the glass opening. First attempt, I got stuck. My shoulders didn't fit. Second attempt, I compressed my body a bit more. I made it. I had now abandoned the car, but I was still at the lake bottom. Water depth was about 13 feet. The surface seemed very far away, and the water was very, very cold. I started swimming, but hypothermia was affecting my muscle coordination. My arms and legs weren't working normally. Every stroke was difficult. Also, my breath-holding time was decreasing. This is called cold shock response. Cold water increases the body's oxygen consumption. Under normal conditions, I could hold my breath for 2 to 3 minutes. Now I had 30 to 45 seconds left. While swimming upward, I experienced disorientation for a moment. Which way is up? Losing direction sense underwater is easy, but sediments at the lake bottom were settling downward. By following them, I found the upward direction. After swimming for 20 seconds, my lungs started burning. Carbon dioxide buildup. The body forces you to breathe, but we're underwater. This is a very dangerous moment. Finally, I saw the water's surface. Light was visible, but I was still 6 feet deep. I kicked upward with my last energy burst. When I surfaced, the first thing was to take a huge breath. The oxygen rush was incredible, but my joy was short-lived because there were new problems. I was in the middle of the lake. The shore was 300 feet away. The water was still ice cold. Hypothermia was accelerating. My muscles were having spasms. I tried to swim, but my coordination was very bad. I tried to do breaststroke, the most energy-efficient style, but each stroke became more difficult. After swimming 150 feet, muscle fatigue reached its peak. I could no longer stroke. I started passive floating, lying on my back, trying to stay on surface with minimal energy. During this time, hypothermia progressed to stage 2. Shivering had stopped. This was a bad sign. Core body temperature had dropped to dangerous levels. Confusion started. My decision-making ability decreased. But there was one more chance. I noticed someone was on the shore. The truck driver had stopped and was watching me. He was shouting, but I couldn't hear him clearly. The man must have called 911 because I heard siren sounds in the distance. But could I wait until rescue arrived? I was about to lose consciousness from hypothermia. As a last resort, I continued swimming toward shore, dog paddle style, the simplest and least energy requiring. With each stroke, I said to myself, one more. 75 feet away, my arms completely went numb. Swimming was no longer possible, but luckily, shallow water started near the shore. My feet touched the lake bottom. I tried to walk, but my legs wouldn't hold me. Hypothermia had completely affected my muscle control. I started crawling through the water toward shore. When I reached the shore, I was completely exhausted. The truck driver ran to me, covered me with his coat. "Ambulance is coming," he said. "Don't move." 5 minutes later, paramedics arrived. They immediately opened an IV line, covered me with warm blankets. Core body temperature was 89 degrees Fahrenheit. Severe hypothermia. Normal is 98.6 degrees. I stayed in the hospital for 2 days. Hypothermia treatment and observation. Doctor said, "You're very lucky." Survival for 10 minutes at this water temperature is very rare. During the recovery process, I learned that what I did was correct. First, I hadn't panicked. I had used a systematic approach. Second, my window breaking technique was correct. I had hit from the corner. Third, I had taken off heavy clothing. This had provided mobility. Fourth, I had used energy-efficient swimming style. Fifth, I had never given up. This experience taught me many lessons. First lesson: keep an emergency hammer in every car to break side windows. Second lesson: be extra careful near frozen lake edges in winter.
Third lesson: cold water immersion is very deadly. Hypothermia can kill within minutes. Fourth lesson: don't panic. Think systematically. This is critical in life or death situations. Fifth lesson: physical fitness saves lives. If I hadn't been in shape, I couldn't have swum from 13 feet depth to surface. After this incident, I became much more aware of car safety. I upgraded my emergency kit. I learned hypothermia first aid, and I became extra cautious in winter driving. Today, I still remember the feeling of that cold water. I have nightmares sometimes. But at the same time, I gained incredible mental strength. I learned that seemingly impossible situations can be survived. This story showed me that preparation and calm thinking can make the difference between life and death. 4 minutes is very short, but survival is possible with the right actions. My advice to you: prepare a car emergency kit. Learn hypothermia symptoms. Study cold water survival techniques, because you never know when you might need them. Thank you for listening to me. If you learned something from this story, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can share your car safety experiences in the comments. See you in the next survival story. Drive safely.